that, good evening. We're ready to start the meeting for the October 31st of the CAPRA meeting. Action number one item is the approval of minutes of September 7, 2011. May I have a motion? Second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, the minutes are approved. Item number 1B, policy calendar number 1, which is CUNY International and Domestic Travel Guidelines.
Okay. It's becoming increasingly common for universities across the United States to formalize internal rules protecting the safety and security of students on off-campus educational trips, both domestic and international. The present guidelines serve as a resource to assist trip leaders in planning and preparing for health and safety issues that may be encountered during CUNY-sponsored travel related to academic study. These guidelines provide a set of consistent procedures to be implemented at all CUNY campuses, with the goal of prompting trip sponsors to assess and mitigate any potential risks to the health and safety of our students. The guidelines have been prepared in close consultation between the Office of Academic Affairs, the Office of Environmental Health, Safety, and Risk Management, and the Office of the General Counsel. Members of the University Faculty Senate also repeatedly provided careful review and feedback. It is expected that these guidelines will continue to be reviewed and updated on a regular basis as best practices evolve. We are asking you to approve our having these guidelines, which we will then modify and update as needed.
Before we move on items, just want to welcome the student representative, Brendan Clark. Welcome. Thank you very much. Okay, are there any questions?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, item passes. Item number 1B2, College of Staten Island letter of intent for the Doctor of Nursing practice.
Okay, the proposed program reflects a growing national trend toward requiring practice-focused doctorates in healthcare disciplines. The Doctor of Nursing practice prepares practitioners of nursing for advanced practice by equipping them with the knowledge and skills needed to translate credible research findings into clinical practice in hospitals, homes, and community settings. The Doctor of Nursing practice is the highest level of clinical expertise in nursing. The American Association of Colleges of Nursing, which is also known as the AACN, similar to what has been happening in other areas of health professions, has called for doctoral preparation as the entry-level credential for advanced practice by 2015, replacing all current master's degree programs. The curriculum here, the one that is being proposed in this letter of intent, is guided by the essentials of DNP education as outlined by the AACN. Earlier this year, the New York State Education Department registered a DNP program at Hunter College. At present, the College of Staten Island, another CUNY college with a long-standing history of providing graduate nursing education, is developing its own program to serve the needs of students in its geographic area. The board is presently asked to approve the letter of intent. As is the custom for doctoral programs, a full proposal will follow at a subsequent meeting.
Yeah, let me say a few words about it. I'm always worried about the nursing taking a position about dealing with, especially in my field as a psychiatry, dealing with medication. Dealing with supportive psychotherapy, all kind of therapy, but once they are going into the pharmacological profile of the patient, we have to be very careful, especially 2 weeks ago. I saw one of my patients there that was referred to me because he was seeing a nursing psychiatric individual who prescribed medication. As a matter of fact, she did the wrong medication. The patient was in very poor shape. So we have to be very careful, and I think that any curriculum that will be presented and for getting the doctoral degree, the pharmacological profile should be on top of everything. If they're going to be allowed to prescribe medication, which I oppose to it.
Karen?
Go ahead, Karen.
I remember when the Hunter degree came forward, but just before this meeting, I received a copy of a letter addressed to you, Alexa, from Professor Martin Burke, the chair of the Doctoral Faculty Policy Committee. Could you explain to us again the difference between a professional doctorate and a research doctorate, and how the process of approving the letter of intent differs between those two?
Okay.
Because the questions raised about why this did not go through the graduate center committees.
Okay, sure. The DNP is, as you just referred to it, a professional doctorate, which means that it's a doctorate that has to do with practice and application, as compared to a degree like a PhD, which is a research doctorate. The professional doctorates are now, as I also indicated, becoming much more common in the health professions. And they involve additional training primarily in practice and the application of research findings to practice. It has been the case that originally at CUNY, PhD programs were all at the Graduate Center, but as you know, in recent years, in one case, there's a standalone PhD now in engineering at City College, and then there are several PhDs in the natural sciences that are given jointly by the Graduate Center and City College and Hunter College. With regard to the professional doctorates, which are different, and I might point out that CUNY, an example of a professional doctorate at CUNY that has been present for a very long time is the JD. The JD is a professional doctorate that is given at the law school and is not given at the Graduate Center. And so as we realized that these professional doctorates were becoming more frequent, we wanted to have a procedure that would ensure, and they are really replacing master's degree programs in these, primarily in these health professions fields. Then the master's programs have been based at particular campuses. And so we felt that it would also be reasonable to consider placing the professional doctorates also at individual campuses. We therefore, several years ago, developed a policy for in which we, after careful study, decided that for a professional doctorate, it might end up being placed at the Graduate Center, but it could also be placed at another campus or jointly by the Graduate Center and that campus. When Hunter proposed its Doctor of Nursing Practice degree, that was reviewed carefully, and it was decided that it was appropriate for Hunter alone to offer that Doctor of Nursing Practice. And we are going through now the same process with the College of Staten Island Doctor of Nursing Practice. Both campuses are campuses that have a lot of strength in nursing and have been giving master's degrees to a great degree. Now what happens is, this is the letter of intent stage, and the letter of intent gets approved by local governance. It's then reviewed and approved by my office, the Office of Academic Affairs, and it is then circulated for 30 days to all the campuses. And both the presidents and the chief academic officers are asked to distribute it to all interested parties and to ask for comments. I can tell you that in the case of this letter of intent, we received no comments from any campus.
So before coming to Capra,
Yes,
it goes to,
it was circulated and received no comments. And now, assuming it is voted on positively by the board, then the campus will proceed to develop a full proposal, and then the proposal, if it's accepted by my office, will come to Capra at a later meeting. So that's basically the
Thank you
procedure.
very much.
Trustee Morales, you?
Well, the other thing that I want to mention is that the American Medical Association are developing a very intense program so that the patient know, because when you have your name, you say Dr. So-and-so, they want to identify that the doctor is a physician or the doctor is a nurse. So they're really very upset about the title of doctor, and the patient doesn't know if they're seeing a nursing or if they're seeing a physician. So
And what about a doctor of physician assistant? That gets confusing. Okay. All right.
No, I was going to say, no, it's not worth.
Can you assure us that when the full proposal comes back to Capra, assuming that it does, that it will address the question of the prescription of
Yes. It will.
drugs
Yes, it will.
that Dr. Morales raised?
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, are programs of this kind under consideration on other campuses in addition to Hunter and CSI?
I'm not aware of a DNP that is being considered by any other campus right now. Yeah, and I might mention we also have a DNS, which is at the Graduate Center with other campuses, and that's a Doctor of Nursing Science, and that is a research-based degree. So that's a different a horse of a different color.
Well, I'm all for this, in part for geographical reasons. But I think when the full proposal comes back, it would be, I'm sure you would do this anyway, but it would be reassuring for the proposal to indicate that you or someone had consulted with the Graduate Center chair or other leader of that
Yeah, we always
program that you just mentioned.
Right. Yes, we do extensive consultation for every proposal.
just let me say that I'm not opposed to nurse seeing patients. I'm not. My concern is about the question of medication.
Which you're going to
Right,
bring back
right,
the answer
yes.
for the next meeting. All right, any other questions? If not, let's move this item. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, motion passes. Item 1B3, Queensborough Community College, York College, ASBS in Chemistry, Pharmaceutical Sciences.
All right, this is another one of the dual joint programs that we had, and many examples, or a couple of examples of at the last, I believe, the last CAPRA. And so just to remind you of what those are, these are programs in which the students are essentially accepted for both degrees simultaneously and at both institutions, assuming that they maintain a certain level of academic performance throughout. Dual joint degrees guarantee the well-performing associate degree student acceptance into his or her chosen baccalaureate program. So such degrees are highly beneficial to associate degree students, and they go beyond the transfer guarantees in the Pathways Resolution that was passed by the Board of Trustees in June. That resolution guarantees transfer of all general education credits as well as the first 3 to 6 courses of many majors, but otherwise guarantees only elective credit and does not guarantee an associate degree student admission into a particular baccalaureate program. But these dual joint programs, they do give such a guarantee. And so this is an example. It's also known, another term for it is a 2+2 partnership. And this is a 2+2 partnership between Queensborough Community College and York. The first 2 years of the program provide students with a liberal arts and sciences background and a solid foundation in chemistry. All courses in this program are already being offered at Queensborough on a regular basis. After transferring to York, students will enroll in more specialized courses in advanced chemistry and pharmaceutical sciences, taking advantage of the existing program in pharmaceutical sciences and the internship opportunities it affords. The program prepares graduates for entry-level employment with health-related manufacturing industry as well as governmental regulatory bodies.
Any question? Not, let's move this item.
So moved?
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, motion carries. Item number 1B4, Borough of Manhattan Community College AA in Communication Studies.
All right, the proposed program addresses the foundations and practices of communication in a global, multicultural context. The curriculum draws extensively from existing courses in the Speech, Communication, and Theater Arts Department, focusing primarily on the non-technical aspects of communication. A survey of employers conducted by the American Association of Colleges and Universities found that the overwhelming majority wanted to hire recent graduates with enhanced communication skills. The proposed degree will be an asset for students seeking entry-level employment in a variety of fields. The program also equips graduates with a strong liberal arts foundation for pursuing a baccalaureate degree. An articulation agreement with Brooklyn College has already been signed, and others are planned.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions? Okay. Item number 2, which is information item.
All right, I have 3 information items for CAPRA members today. The first one of those items concerns enrollment. We're now at the point in the academic year where we have a pretty good idea of the fall enrollment. 2 of our colleges, Kingsborough and LaGuardia, start later in the fall, so we do not yet have complete enrollment numbers for them, but what we have is pretty close for the university as a whole. Based on that information, total headcount enrollment has increased from approximately 260,000 to 270,000 students, a 3% increase. Total FTE enrollment has increased about 2%. Now, FTEs, for those of you who aren't super familiar with that terminology, stands for full-time equivalents, and it's basically if your classrooms were as full as they are, but they were all filled by full-time students, how many full-time students would it take to fill them that much? I never know how to explain that. Okay,
Want me
did you
to?
follow that one?
Well, I do it differently.
Okay.
That sounded like Peter Piper.
Yeah,
has
it did.
a guess.
It did. Okay, so FTEs are really the best way to measure how many faculty you need. And what we have found is that this year is the first time in several years that headcount has actually increased a larger percentage more than FTEs, which means that on average, students are taking fewer credits and are more likely to be attending college part-time as compared to full-time. This is not good. This is not a good thing because taking more credits and going full-time are associated with higher retention and graduation rates. There are many factors that may be responsible for the higher growth in headcount than in FTEs. One may be that the job market has improved, and so more students are able to find jobs while going to school, and so are more likely to go to school part-time. Another may be that our continued large growth, which was 3% in headcount this year, is outstripping our ability to provide classes at times that students need them and that are taught by good faculty. We will be looking into all of this in more detail. The second information item that I was going to mention has to do with a hearing that we had last week. Last week, I led 5 CUNY administrators in testifying in front of the Higher Education Committee of the New York City Council concerning remediation at CUNY. The other members of the panel were Vice Chancellor Eduardo Marti, Bronx Community College President Carol Barat-Joseph, Senior University Dean John Mogilescu, and ASAP Director Donna Linderman. Our testimony focused on the several evidence-based methods that we at CUNY are now using to help students get through remediation and into credit-bearing courses more successfully. For new students who have large remedial needs, we strongly suggest that they defer their CUNY admission and enroll in our CUNY START program, an intensive semester-long program that costs students only $75, does not use up any of their financial aid, and completes all remediation for a majority of students within 1 semester. We have over 700 students in this program this fall. For students who have moderate remedial needs, we try to put them all into learning communities, which are cohorts of limited size whose members take all of their classes together with coordinated instruction and advising. Being in a learning community has been experimentally shown to increase student success. For students who have mild remedial need, we recommend that they enroll in ASAP, which stands for Accelerated Study of Associate Programs, a comprehensive package of academic and student support services which is showing retention and graduation rates of 2 to 3 times greater than students who are not, comparable students who are not in ASAP. We also have had great success with summer and winter remedial immersion programs, and we are currently engaged in groundbreaking Gates-funded work with the New York City Department of Education to align our curricula with them and engage, with the New York City Public Schools, and engage in other efforts designed to decrease the percentage of Department of Education graduates who need remediation when they come to CUNY. The New York City Council members were very receptive to our presentations and are very supportive of our efforts. The third information item is I'd like to update you on what's happening with the Pathways Initiative. Since the September CAPRA meeting, there's been a lot of work done with the Pathways Initiative, which is CUNY's, as you, I hope all know, CUNY's initiative to ease the transfer of our undergraduate students from one campus to another so that they no longer lose credits. We have been continuing to follow carefully the directives in the Pathways resolution that was passed by the Board of Trustees in June. Both the steering and working committees, over 80% of which are faculty, and which are chaired by CUNY Law School Dean Michelle Anderson, have met repeatedly since this summer for a great many hours each time. As a result of their extremely hard work, they have just sent out to the entire CUNY community today, one day early, for comment, their suggested structure for CUNY's new 30-credit Common Core. And I have copies of it here, actually, which I thought, would anybody like one? Maybe? One? Okay. Got some here. Oh, okay. Is it stapled?
I'll grab one copy.
Is it stapled properly? No. The one on top must not have been. Here, take another one. You don't have the whole thing. Okay. All right.
It should be
It's
3
not,
pages.
it should be more than 3.
Is,
I think, make sure you get a stapled one. And then you get
Okay.
everything.
Do you have anything that says Dear CUNY colleague?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think-
that's the cover,
I think
right.
the top one must have not been
Right.
stapled and it got, okay.
okay.
Brandon,
Yes, that's
you
right.
have it?
Tonight's Halloween.
No, we're not going with that theme. Okay. All right. So, you can see what's here for yourselves. You'll note that it requires, if you go to the, not the first, second page, but the, page 5 is the actual structure. Okay, and you'll see if you look there that it requires students to take 7 credits of English composition, 4 credits of mathematics or quantitative reasoning, and 4 credits of life and physical sciences. Then students will also take an additional 5 3-credit courses with at least one of these from each of 4 areas: world cultures, U.S. experience in its diversity, creative expression, and individual and society. This structure is designed to emphasize students' work on important college-level skills, such as communication and critical thinking, but at the same time, it affords the campuses significant flexibility as to which courses they want to include for their Common Course offerings. There will be a comment period from now until November 15th on the draft structure. The steering and working committees will consider all of the comments received, make any changes in the structure that they think are appropriate, and send their final recommendations to the Chancellor by December 1st. I must say there's been a lot of, we first started seeing drafts of this structure a couple of weeks ago, and in that period of time, there's been a fair amount of misinformation that's been sent out electronically to widely about what's in this draft structure. For example, there's been a student petition also that's been being promulgated which also in the preamble to it has a lot of misinformation about what's in the structure. Languages other than English are in here. Math and science are in here. Lab science is in here. All these things, emphasis on writing skills is in here. I'm saying these things all positively because if I say something negative, somebody will turn it around to, it's better if I say, what's in here? All these things are in here. And the senior colleges, to keep in mind, they will have an additional 12 credits in addition to these 30 for general education of any courses that they wish. So there are additional opportunities to put in whatever courses the senior colleges want into the general education curriculum. We would appreciate everyone's help in trying to make sure that the correct information gets out there, because there's been a lot of incorrect information, which I will not repeat, because if I say the incorrect information, you'll think that that's what's in it, so I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, the 47 faculty and 4 students and 4 campus-based administrators have worked extremely hard on this structure, and we're looking forward to everyone's comments. Also, since the last CAPRA meeting, another important part of the Pathways work has begun. Last week, the committees that will be working on aligning the first courses for the largest transfer majors for all of CUNY met for the first time to begin their work. These committees are chaired by Graduate Center President Bill Kelly. The committees will submit their recommendations to my office by May 1st. There are over 70 faculty involved in this majors work, in addition to the almost 40 faculty involved in the Common Core steering and working committees. And we look forward to the excellent work of the faculty on the majors committees following on the outstanding work of the steering and working committees.
Excellent. Before we go on, just want to comment how nicely that the city council meeting was done. I saw it on TV.
Oh, you did?
Yes, very, very nice. It's actually accolade to CUNY.
It went well.
Yeah, it went very well.
Thank you.
Okay, these are informational items. Any questions? Go right.
In regards to the information item concerning the headcount compared to FTEs,
Yes.
the minutes for September 7th of this year, the estimation based on the admissions was that the percentage of FTEs had risen by 2.7% compared to the headcount. So what you're stating in the point of information for this meeting is that the findings are actually contrary to what we're supposed to believe?
Yes, it switched a little bit. Now, it may still change a little more because we don't have final data on Kingsborough or LaGuardia. Okay, so we'll see. But it was always, in the past few years, up until this year, it was consistent that every measure we took, the FTEs were more percentage increase than the headcount, and that doesn't seem to be the case this time.
So is this rarity of sorts?
No, it's not typical of the past few years, but it certainly has happened before in CUNY's history.
Okay.
It's not unusual, but it's something that we have to dig further into and see why it happened.
And the reasons that you cited that may possibly have attributed to this reduction in FTEs compared to the overall headcount?
Well, there are at least 2 reasons, and there's undoubtedly many reasons, and different campuses are going to have different situations. But one possible reason is that students couldn't register for more credits because they couldn't get the courses they wanted. That would be one possible reason. But another is that because the economy has improved a little bit, students are more likely to be working rather than going part-time to school, rather than going full-time to school. We saw, in the past few years, when we saw the FTEs increase so much, undoubtedly some of that was due to students just spending their time going to school because there weren't any jobs.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So in that FTEs is a positive sign for the economy.
Well, maybe, but we still want people to go full-time.
Yeah.
No matter what, we want people to go full-time.
So is this consistent across the university through, at the different campuses?
No,
Or is
I mean, there's always variation.
right.
Yeah, so,
So there are some campuses
Yes.
at which the reverse is
yes,
true.
yes.
Another reason, could it be that I'm reading that more students are applying to a lot more schools and then, and then not really taking the offer versus accepting?
Well, this is all enrolled students who are already enrolled, so it's not, yeah,
They're
that
taking fewer
Yeah.
courses,
yeah,
fewer credits.
right. I mean, it's still more than they were a few years
Right,
ago,
absolutely.
but,
Is the number, the two numbers you gave us, is that a measure of students who are working in degree programs?
yes. These
How-
are all matriculated, 4-credit students.
And how many others do we have who receive educational
Whatever million.
We have
benefits, but who are in certificate or?
non-credit
Non-credit.
training programs and things. We have about another 250,000, 260,000.
Okay.
250,000.
Yeah, who are in non-credit bearing. We have altogether, it's over 500,000 people. Yeah, continuing education.
I'm glad you validated that, because I used that figure this morning.
Oh, good. That's how many it is.
If I may, I would be remiss as a student representative to not inquire as to whether or not affordability of tuition, considering the most recent tuition hike that was imposed for this semester, could have possibly had an impact on the reduction in the percentage of FTEs in the district. I'm sure that there will need to be time to further delve into the data.
We'd have to look at that. I mean, it is the case that we're still within the TAP limit. So anybody who's on TAP would not have been affected by the tuition increase. So, and a huge proportion of our students are on TAP. So,
Well, how did our graduate enrollment do?
well, the graduate enrollment is a little bit down. However, it's down in 2 particular areas. One is education, which is actually our largest percentage of graduate programs, and that's not a surprise because there aren't jobs right now for, right. And the other area it's down in is in the MBA, and that's nationally true this year. Fewer people are going into the MBA programs.
That's only on one campus.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Okay.
Just follow the rules of order.